Welcome back, class 10 students. This is your teacher and guide, Mrs. Harpreet Kaur from English Frog Club. So here I am back with the second video in the explanation series of the chapter 100 Dresses 2 from the book First Flight under NCERT publication. So without moving here and there, thinking here and there, let's move straight into the explanation video of the chapter right now. Let's move. So, we studied that in the previous section, the girls had come to know that Wanda had left because of being teased by them, and Maddie was feeling really bad and she wanted to do something, and she just hoped that Wanda might have not moved yet and they could just reach her at her residence and express their apology to Wanda and tell her that they consider her drawings to be the best and she was wonderful at drawing. Now let's study what happens now in this section of the chapter. When the school was dismissed in the afternoon, Peggy said with pretended casualness, "Hey, let's go and see if that kid has left town or not." See, Peggy herself was feeling a little bad, but she was in a habit of not expressing her feelings. So she said with pretended casualness, "Okay, let's just go and see whether Wanda is there at her residence or not." So Peggy had the same idea. Maddie glowed. Peg was really all right. Maddie was really happy that Peggy had the same feeling. She also wanted to go to Wanda's residence and want to talk to her. The two girls hurried out of the building, up the street towards Bergen Heights, the part of town that wore such a forbidding air on this kind of a November afternoon, drizzly, damp and dismal. So, that place Bergen Heights itself seemed to be wet and sad, expressing the sadness and hopelessness that Wanda was suffering from. "Well, at least," said Peggy gruffly, "I never did call her a foreigner and make fun of her name. I never thought she had the same sense to know. I never thought she had the sense to know we were making fun of her anyway. I thought she was too dumb and gee, look how she can draw." Okay. So Peggy is trying to justify herself, as she herself is feeling bad, and here she is trying to justify her, and she is expressing her concern to Maddie, and she said that she had never called Wanda a foreigner and she never made fun of her name. Okay, and moreover she thought that, Peggy said that she thought that Wanda was really a simple-headed person and she were not having this attitude or feeling that the girls were making fun of her. And then she said surprisingly, "Wow, what beautiful hand she has," and she never expected that girl had such a beautiful hand and she could draw so well that no one else in the school could draw. As she hoped was that they would find Wanda. She wanted to tell her that they were sorry they had picked on her, and how wonderful the whole school thought she was. And please do not move away and everybody would be nice. She and Peggy would fight anybody who was not nice. So Maddie was not saying anything. She did not say anything to Peggy, but she was hoping that they would be able to find Wanda, and she would express her apology to her and will tell her that no one would dare to tease her. If anybody would happen to do something like that, they will be standing by her side. So don't worry, and she is going to tell her not to move out of this place keep coming to the school. The two girls hurried on. They hoped to get to the top of the hill before dark. So the distance was quite long, and so they climbed up the hill hurriedly so that they would be reached there in time before getting dark. I think that's where the Petronskis live, said Maddie, pointing to a little white house. Wisps of old grass stuck up here and there along the pathway like thin kittens. The house and its sparse little yard looked shabby but clean. It reminded Maddie of Wanda's one dress, her faded blue cotton dress, shabby but clean. So the way while they were moving to Wanda's house, they reached at a place where the pathway was filled with the grass here and there, and although the place was a little shabby, but it looked quite clean. So this reminded Maddie of the blue dress Wanda used to wear. It was also shabby but quite clean. Okay. There was not a sigh of life about the house. Peggy knocked firmly on the door, but there was no answer. She and Maddie went around to the backyard and knocked there. Still, there was no answer. So they looked at every place. They knocked at the door. They found no one answering. They went to the backyard, and even then they knocked there. Still, there was no answer. So that showed that there was no life there at all. No one was living there. So Wanda and her family had left the place. There was no doubt about it. The Petronskis were gone. How could they ever make amends? Okay, now she was really, it was doubtless that nobody was there in the house and Petronskis had gone, and how could they show anyone? Now the point was that how could they make amends? That means will they be able to meet Wanda again and tell her that they were sorry? And so this was that what both the girls were thinking. They turned slowly and made their way back down the hill. Well, anyway, said Peggy, she's gone now, so what can we do? Besides, when I was asking her about all her dresses, she probably was getting good ideas for her drawings. She might not even have won the contest otherwise. So Peggy here is a little proud, she said that, okay, nothing can be done now when Wanda isn't here. And moreover, she said that it was because of her only that she got the ideas of drawing different 100 dresses. If she would have not asking Wanda how many dresses she had, and she would have not talked about the dresses, then she might have not got the idea, and she would not be the winner of this drawing contest. Maddie turned this idea carefully over her head, for if there were anything in it, she would not have to feel so badly. But that night she could not get to sleep. She thought about Wanda and her faded blue dress and the little house she had lived in, and she thought of glowing pictures those 100 dresses made, all lined up in the classroom. At last Maddie sat up in the bed and pressed her forehead tight in her hands and really thought. This was the hardest thinking she had ever done. After a long time, she reached an important conclusion. So now that night was quite a restless night for Maddie. That was a sleepless night for Maddie. Whole night she was up thinking of Wanda, thinking of her dress, thinking of her drawings, thinking of everything she could think about Wanda. And then she could not, she was feeling so guilty that she wasn't able to sleep. And she just put her forehead into her hands tightly, and she just thought for a while, and that was the most terrible thinking she had till her life. Okay, so and she reached to an important decision. Let's say what was the conclusion that she came to. she was never going to stand by and say nothing again. So she took this, she promised this to her that in future if her friend Peggy would be doing wrong to some girl, she would never stand by and she would be saying, she would say nothing again, and that means that she would do something at the time when she'll find that her friend Peggy is doing something unfair to some child. If she ever heard anybody picking on someone because they were funny looking or because they had strange names, she would speak up, even if it meant losing Peggy's friendship. She was so guilty that she had taken this firm decision that next time onwards, if someone is going to tease somebody, she is not going to stand by the side and she is going to speak up and tell that person, what you are doing is wrong, you should not be doing this. And she has gone to the great extent that she said that she don't worry at all, she is not concerned, she wasn't concerned even if she loses Peggy's friendship, and this was her decision that she would never bear that something bad or some teasing activity, some unfair activity is being done by some of her classmates, schoolmate or anybody, and she won't be standing by the side. She would definitely tell that person that whatever he or she is doing is wrong. Okay. So she had no way of making things right with Wanda. So what does she say here? That she had no ways of making things right with Wanda. Like whatever has happened that has become the thing of past. Now altering past is not in the hands of a human being, but what was in her hands, she is telling us further. But from now on, she would never make anybody else that unhappy again. So she said that from now onwards, from that very time onwards, she won't let anybody be happy like Wanda was, that she was forced to leave the place where they were living. So that is all in this part of the explanation video of 100 Dresses Part 2. Let's see what happens next in the story in my next explanation video of this chapter. See you in the next video. Till then, keep watching my channel, and if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, kindly consider subscribing it and press the bell icon for the latest updates. Bye for now.